Good evening, guys, and happy Monday to all of your sunshiny faces. I'm here with Charlie, who's just completely gonna ignore me. Charlie, I was trying to share camera time with you, and now you're just gonna show the back of your head? That's not very nice. That's not very nice. Hi, buddy. Yes, it is Monday, and I think I was telling you guys in yesterday's vlog, I sort of had my meal plan sort of set out. I was telling you guys yesterday how like I need to probably try and get some of the like freezer stuff like not organized, but like our chest freezer. I need to start doing my list again and keeping track of like all of the meals that I have out there, like the freezer dinner meals that I have, and also, you know, just like update my list that I have, because I was making stuff and not updating it, and then I would start using that stuff too, and then it still wasn't updated, and then I was using stuff that I already had on the list, and so I wasn't updating that I had used that stuff. So I was like, oh, there must be another one of, you know, these out there, you know, like a pot roast or something like that. I go out there and I'm like, I can't find it anywhere, and I was like, that might have been something that I used. So I wasn't keeping super good track of that for like a good while, but it's almost been probably close to maybe about a year. I think that I went through it, maybe I did it in the spring or like right at the beginning of the year, but I want to say that like at the same time last December, because I remember it was right before Christmas that I got all our pantry all organized, and for the most part I've kept that pretty organized. And then too, sort of just like, so I need to organize sort of to like the pantry every handful of months, or at least sort of re-go through some of this stuff, just so that I have like an updated idea, because I don't like to keep a list of like the stuff that we keep in the pantry, because like people will just randomly use like a can of something or whatever, and like I'm not like, oh, I didn't know that we didn't have, you know, 4 cans of black beans in the pantry or whatever, you know, and then I'm like, okay, like what's in there, you know. But I still like to go through it just so that like for the most part, like I know like sort of what's in there. Like I can be like, okay, we have canned corn, or we have, you know, a can of this, or, you know, like black beans or whatever. But like again too, for the most part, like if I'm like, I have like a taste for like black beans or something like that, and again too, we don't have any, and I notice that, then I can just put it on the grocery list to go grocery shopping. But if I am like, oh, you know, something that we don't use super often, like I was telling you guys, the cans of carrots that I ended up using in the chicken noodle soup because we didn't have any fresh carrots, so I used that, and so that ended up actually working out really well. But like just so that I have like an idea in the back of my head, like of the stuff that's normally like further in the back of the pantry, you know, but so that I have sort of an idea, you know, of like the stuff that we have in there, it's good to go through that like semi-often. But with the freezer, because sometimes too it involves taking a lot of stuff out of the freezer because it's a chest freezer, it's hard to sort of like go through that and like find everything and then keep everything like as a mental note. Like I need to have an actual physical list of the stuff that's in there. But still, with the pantry, I've kept that pretty organized since Christmas when I ended up doing it, because I remember it was like right before we started like doing the holiday baking stuff that I was like, okay, I want to clean and organize this stuff, just because I need to have like an idea of like the stuff that we have, like how much, you know, vegetable oil do we have, and you know, like how much of this and that and I needed for baking. So I ended up doing that right before Christmas, and like I said too, for the most part I have that still pretty much all organized. It's more or less, like I said, the freezer that I don't, and I think, like I said, I either did that right before Christmas as well, or else I ended up doing it after, like in the spring or something like that. But for the most part I stayed pretty on top of it, but now it's starting to get to the point again where I'm like, I don't know what's out there and I need to go through it. So you know, that's something that I have to do. But lately I've been, you know, trying to again use up a lot of the stuff that I know that we have. So tonight for dinner I ended up doing pork chops, and I told you guys that we ended up getting those little like, not instant potatoes, but they were like real potatoes, like they're from like, you know, like the what's it called, like the produce section at Jewel, but they're like, you can microwave them like 6 minutes and they'll cook, and then they also have like a seasoning packet sort of thing that also gets released when you cook it as well, and then you just shake it and serve it. It was like the easiest stinking thing ever, and it was so tasty, and like I stinking loved those. They were so good. They needed just a little bit of salt on them, and that's what it says too. It says add salt and pepper like to your preference, but it had like a garlic sort of like potato seasoning. Oh my goodness, guys, they were so good, and they were like so tender and like so perfect. They were like not like just like Yukon or like red potatoes like that are like smaller. They were like little, like that big sort of sized potatoes. And so like I said, it was really nice, easy, convenient, went really well with pork chops. My dad actually said he really liked them, so I ended up doing a cranberry pork chop recipe. And again too, this was something that I froze ahead of time. I ended up getting one of those big, not the pork tenderloins, like I ended up getting like, I don't know, it was like a 10-pound, or maybe it was 8 pounds or something like that. I think I ended up making them into 4 dinners or something like that. But one of the recipes I ended up doing was cranberry pork chops. It's literally just a can of canned cranberries, like cranberry jelly, or you could use like the whole cranberry jelly stuff, whatever that is. I don't know if that's jelly, but like the whole cranberries, like the canned cranberries. I think 2 different sort of kinds of cranberries. You could use either. I ended up using the canned cranberries, and I think that was actually the only thing that I ended up adding to it. My dad said he absolutely loved it. Jack said it was really good. My mom seemed like she liked it as well. And like I said too, we just did it with the pork chops. So in total, for everything that I ended up doing, like I'm thinking back on like what I paid for the pork chops when I got it, the can of cranberries, and then to the potatoes that I got yesterday, I was like a $5 dinner. And we had 1 pork chop left over too after everything. I ended up not having that. I made something else for myself for dinner because I don't eat meat. Everybody else, they all said that they really liked it. And again too, like I said, thinking back on it, I was like, you know, it was around $5. Like between the potatoes, I got that for $2 yesterday, and the pork chops were, I think, like $1.99 maybe a pound, and I think I used about a pound, maybe 2 pounds or something like that. And then I think the cranberries were like 79 cents or something like that. So like I said, we were maybe around like $5 to $8 maybe at most, something like that. But still, it was a very inexpensive meal. And like I said too, we did have 1 pork chop, ended up, you know, having leftovers for that. And I did have some of the potatoes too, so, but Jack didn't have any. It ended up feeding, you know, 3 people pretty much easily for about $5 to $8. So like I said too, I'm always like running the numbers in my head too. I'm like, is that a really like, you know, like money efficient sort of meal and stuff like that too? Because sometimes I'm like, this meal literally cost me like, you know, $2 to make, and sometimes it's a little bit more. So normally too, when I'm like looking at the price, I'm like anything between $5 to $10 for like a meal that will feed normally about 4 people is really good. And again too, it depends on what you're making, and also to the type of meat that you're using, because like honestly too, I can get a thing of spaghetti for $1, and I can get a can of like spaghetti sauce, or like, you know, a jar of spaghetti sauce for $1. So yes, I could technically make a meal for $2, but again, in like reality, when I'm like thinking about like, okay, a meat-based sort of meal and stuff like that, that obviously is going to cost more money. Again, depending on what it is, you know, I'm hoping to keep anything under $10. But then again too, when you like compare that price, like if we went out to eat, honestly, like even just like super cheap fast food or something like that, it's like $30 for 4 people. Like it is not cheap. And so like, you know, I was saying, you know, like looking at that, I'm like, you know, when I can make a meal where, you know, again, we're paying only about $5 to $10 for that, that's like, you know, again, very cheap and a really good price for, you know, something that's very filling. We had a side dish with it too. The only thing that I completely forgot about this week, and I'm so mad that I did, because I got a cucumber because I wanted to do a salad this week, I forgot to get lettuce. And so I didn't end up doing a side salad. Normally we always have side salad. I will make it depending on what day we end up getting it. Like if we got it from Valley Produce and Caputo's, or from Meijer or Aldi, whatever day, I end up making it over the weekend. And then a lot of times we'll have it for like throughout the week for like dinners and stuff like that. So we almost always have a side salad. And then I normally try and do like 1 side dish to go along with whatever we're doing as far as like the meat sort of base thing is. So like too, if I was like, which I was going to actually, I sort of forgot about this until last minute, but when I made the chicken noodle soup on Saturday, I was actually going to make homemade bread to go with that, because you know, soup and bread goes pretty well together, but instead we just ended up doing saltine crackers because we had them. But again too, we had a little bit of that left over, but I told you guys how like too, I ended up getting that chicken breast, or the whole chicken, which I did for 1 meal last weekend. I think that was like on Monday or something like that, and then we ended up doing it again. I used the leftovers and cooked all that and made the broth and everything like that to have for dinner then on Friday or on Saturday, and then we ended up doing chicken chicken noodle soup. And again too, I was like comparing like, okay, you know, based on how many noodles I used roughly, and you know, the celery, and you know, all the can of carrots that I had to use and all that kind of stuff, like how much did it cost. Again, a $5 chicken that we got made us 2 dinners with the ingredients that I needed for the chicken noodle soup. And then also too, we did mashed potato side dish that I had, like one of those fast refrigerated mashed potato things that I got really cheap at Jewel. We did that on Monday with the chicken. I was like, all in all, we were probably like, honestly, it was probably like $8 at most for all of the ingredients for both of those meals, including the side dish too. So I was like, that's like, again, really cheap, that I could do pretty much like $4, probably even a little bit less than that per meal, you know, for each of those days. So, you know, again, I think that that was, you know, pretty good, you know, like deals, and, you know, again, stretching, you know, a budget sort of thing and all that kind of stuff, and cooking and everything. So there's one thing though that I do have in the refrigerator that I really need to use, and I wanted to do it this weekend, was actually, I have a brick of cheese that I need to use to make mac and cheese, which I have not made in a while because I haven't gotten any deals on cheese. But I got this a little while back, and I'm like, I probably need to use that up very soon. So most likely I'm hoping that this weekend I can get to it. But I had all of my sort of things planned out too, because of, again, the side dishes I had. I wanted to use that chicken up, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I was like, I probably need to you know, like not do the mac and cheese this weekend, and probably just end up doing it next weekend. So I think that next weekend, possibly on Saturday, I will hopefully end up doing mac and cheese. I think that will wind up working out. So, and then I have to plan for next week too. But the thing that stinks is that I have not been using my planner, and I feel like that too is because I haven't been waking up super early lately. But I'm actually going to bed early tonight because I woke up this morning at 7 o'clock, and then I fell back asleep because Jack woke me up because he was looking for football pants and shirts and stuff like that, and game jersey and all that kind of stuff. I realized I forgot to wash his pants. So he ended up taking his practice stuff. That's all he actually needed though. So he went to practice today because I told you guys he had off school. So he went at 7 o'clock in the morning. That was, he had to walk to school, and then actually his friend's mom ended up driving him home, so he didn't have to walk home. But I told you guys how like he ended up missing my mom because he had to leave before she got back from work, and then she went to bed before he was ready to be picked up because of, you know, her working night shifts and her work and everything like that. So like they completely end up missing each other. And so he, like I said though, he woke me up this morning. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe I forgot to wash your pants. So I was like, can you make sure that you bring them home tonight so that I can wash them? So he ended up bringing them home. They're in the dryer. They're all clean now. But he had to bring those today, and then, like I said, I ended up getting that stuff washed though, because I remembered to wash the game jersey because I need to wash my mom's work pants also. So I ended up doing that to make sure that I got it done before Saturday, before my mom had to leave for work. But then I ended up forgetting about his pants, and so like I said, that was lucky that like he didn't have school today, because I was able to just, I was like, okay, you can just use these, because I don't know why, still like they were just doing like sort of lifting and stuff like that, but like they still need their practice pants, which is really the only thing that he ended up wearing that wasn't clean. So I was like, okay, like you can just bring those back and I'll just wash all that stuff. So thankfully that got taken care of. So I did do laundry today, but again, I haven't been using my planner really, and so I need to start getting on that. But I'm going to bed early tonight because, like I said, I woke up at 7 o'clock though, was up for like probably about an hour, and then ended up falling back asleep, and then ended up sleeping until about 10 o'clock or something like that. 10-11 o'clock, almost, something around there. But I was up for like a good hour or two before I fell asleep, because I was like, should I just get up, should I lay down, should I, like, you know, and I was like on my phone, and then I was like deciding whether or not I wanted to get up, and then I actually fell completely back to sleep, and then I was like, okay. So then, but because like I was awake for that time and I didn't get like a solid like sleep, so that's why I think I'm really tired tonight. So I think that's a good thing that I can go to bed early, hopefully. But again too, my whole planner thing I feel like is a big problem, and like I haven't probably used it in about a month. But that is also too, like normally I always write down like my meal plan on there too, and I haven't been doing that. So like I've been mentally trying to keep track of it in my head, and I haven't been doing that great of a job with that right now. Because the other thing too is that sometimes I need to pre-plan for my meals. So because we don't go to Aldi, and like Aldi's the place I normally get like, oh, we needed, you know, a, you know, can of this, or we needed, needed, you know, like hamburger buns for doing hamburgers over the weekend or whatever it is, normally we don't go to Aldi till Sunday. So if I cook, which I haven't been cooking on Fridays just because of football games, but if I cook Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, normally, on Sundays are, you know, like I go to Aldi on Sunday. So I need to pre-plan if I'm going to do something that I don't have the ingredients for on Friday and or Saturday. And I haven't been doing that. So I've had to just been like, okay, I can only cook whatever of, you know, the ingredients I have, which again, most of the time I have all of this stuff. But again, sometimes if I'm like, oh, we have hamburgers in the freezer, we'll do that, but we don't have hamburger buns. So like a lot of times more of the perishable things are the stuff that I do have to buy. That again, too, sometimes I wind up forgetting about, and you know, I have to wait though until Sunday to get it. So that's why I need to pre-plan a little bit better. And like I said, to get back to using my planner a little bit more. So I also forgot to change my calendar. I just did that today because I was like, we're in October. This still says September. So my calendar has gotten changed. Now I just need to start using my planner a little bit more often as well. So anyways, guys, I will see you all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love it if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.